Good morning and a very warm welcome to Ask the Expert. Ask the Expert is an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses just like you. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, then please do join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where accountants and business experts like myself are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I'll reveal the results at the end. And do make sure you're registered for QuickBooks free annual conference, the QuickBooks Connect. Look out for the link in the chat. People like myself will be on there giving you some great advice. Taking place virtually on the 9th to the 10th of March, the big event brings entrepreneurs, small business owners, and accountants together to grow, learn, and connect. So, okay, who am I? Well, my name is Aaron Patrick, and it's an absolute pleasure to be with you again. I'm a chartered accountant and also a QuickBooks certified trainer, a fancy new logo. So please don't be afraid to ask me any QuickBooks related questions in today's session. I also own a state-of-the-art accountancy firm called Boffix, which is the best in cloud technology available to help small businesses get their crucial real-time information they need at their fingertips. If you require accounting advice, payroll, bookkeeping services, and even QuickBooks training, then please do get in touch. We don't want small business just to survive, but to thrive. I also have a dedicated QuickBooks YouTube channel called Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chap. So if you have any need for any more QuickBooks news and advice, then why not go and give that channel a follow? Okay, enough about me, and let's focus on today's session. As always, this session is all about you and your burning questions. So please do get in touch and use any of those comment sections to get your questions over to us. So while we wait for the first of the question to arise, and being Valentine's Day, we thought, well, how about we put some tips and tricks of how to make your accountant love you? But it's quite appropriate for today. So don't forget to get those questions over to us. And while we wait, let's go through looking at some top tips of making your accountant love you. Because at the end of the day, if you can make your accountant love you, then you're going to be in for a great time with that particular accountant. So let's go through some advice on that one. First of all, let's think about information itself. So share as much information as you possibly can. Our role as your accountant is to go through business information and make sense of it all. So please send or bring in the records as promptly after any period end or after any VAT quarter, and bring them to your accountant as soon as you can. One thing to really bear in mind here is do not wait until the last minute. More time that you give your accountant the opportunity to go through said information, the better opportunity they're going to be able to get to not only make sure that it's as correct and as right as it possibly can be, but make sure that you're not running too close to any deadlines, or worse still, missing a particular deadline. Here at Boffix, we really do believe in the term RTI, real-time information. So for us, it's even more important that we get that information as soon as possible. And most accounting firms are starting to move into that sort of realm as well. I would always advise, as another top tip, is to agree a mutual schedule with said accounting firm. So no one in business likes surprises, especially us accountants. And also you need to remember that that while you and your accountant should create a mutually agreeable schedule of work, that could be really, really useful to us, especially when you know what's coming. Ask for when it's the best time to receive information, make some appointments, or file returns. If you have that time frame all in mind and set out at the beginning, that's going to make your time even easier. Many accountants have their busy season during January. So if you can try and find a way where your end of year meeting is going to be before or after that period, you're going to be in a position where you can find a better solution for everyone. Many accountants can also have times that they can both agree dates for year ends to meet. So if you already have your time that you're going to be meeting with your accountant already in the diary, and that gives them something to work to as well, doesn't it? So having those mutually agreed time frames is going to really help make sure that you get the information that you need at the right time, and the accountant has enough time to be able to prepare for it and get everything over. That gives you also plenty of time, hopefully, before the actual return or the period or the piece of information is due, which means it gives you plenty of time to go through those numbers, make sure you're confident in them, and make sure that those due dates and everything don't just suddenly appear. The more you agree on a schedule in advance, the fewer surprises you'll encounter when it's time to prepare your tax returns and financial statements, and your accountant will absolutely love that. The next bit of tip that I've got for you is to be honest. You should always tell your accountant the truth about every aspect of your company finances, from income to tax information. If you don't, you risk mistakes and potential, some even consequences like fines or even legal consequences against your particular company. Being honest also means admitting that you don't understand something. The accountant knows that you aren't an expert in all things finance related. That's why you hired them in the first place. If they use a term you don't understand, ask a question instead of smiling nodding. They'll be more than happy to explain. And at the end of the day, if you don't understand it, then how can you get confidence from being able to sign from there? One of the other things we would always recommend is also use an accounting software, or better still, use a software that your accountant recommends for you to prepare your records to get the records to your accountant on time. Obviously, we would recommend QuickBooks Online. It's a smart accounting software that can help you prepare from the world of making tax digital. You'll get expert help from real people if you use QuickBooks Online, and it includes everything from invoicing to expense, VAT, payroll. QuickBooks pretty much has it all, and it definitely will help you and your accountant have a better relationship. The idea is that using something like QuickBooks is going to give you the opportunity to be able to save time doing your returns and doing all your information, but also it's going to make sure that information is accurate. QuickBooks has evolved so much, even in this past couple of years, to a point where you're having so much data that automatically going into QuickBooks Online. That means that the information is going to be there that's going to be relevant. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the show about talking about how about real-time information is so important, well, it's software that's going to help clients and accountants achieve that. You see, as an accountant, if I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you for your year-end figures, as important those year-end figures are, actually what's after that year-end is far more important. And it's seeing that information and understanding what's going on between a year-end to now, which is going to make sure that we can give the best possible advice, help you make sure that you have confidence again in those figures, and make sure that you are being looked after properly. So I really do recommend having some form of software and making sure that it's as up to date as it possibly can be, using all the tips, tricks, and everything else. And don't forget, here on Ask the Expert, we're always going through enhancements to QuickBooks Online. We're always talking about how you can get the most out of it. So do keep yourself tuned into Ask the Expert on a regular basis. Make sure you keep receipts. Make it a personal habit to request and keep receipts for absolutely everything. The more receipts that you keep, the happier your accountant's going to be. There's nothing more frustrating from the accountant's point of view where we can see that that particular expense may have some VAT for you to claim, or may have some sort of enhanced capital expenditure for us to claim, and you don't have the receipt to back it up. That means we're going to have to make a decision, and sometimes that decision isn't going to be in your favor. So please, please, please do make a habit of it. And remember how I mentioned about QuickBooks Online? Well, that makes it so easy to keep receipts. Literally with your mobile phone, you can take a photo of it, you can get that information sent in, you can sort out and send information to and from QuickBooks in an automated manner. And QuickBooks itself can be the software of choice for holding all of that information for you, all those receipts, and not just receipts that are sat there in a wonderful folder format, but actually receipts that relate directly to whatever expenditure or whatever transaction we're talking about at that point in time. I promise you, if you can keep all your receipts, your accountant will absolutely love you. Don't be afraid also to challenge your accountant. If you're concerned that your accountant's made a mistake, because after all, they're all human, then ask them. Remember, accountants are humans. They make mistakes too. You should understand what you're about to sign. If you don't have confidence in this, then please make sure you raise any issues before signing. The whole role of an accountant is that they're taking information that technically you could produce yourself. Tax returns, accounts, and everything else, they all have the ability for you to individually to complete, where you've decided to pass that information and pass that requirement onto a professional to get it done. So if you don't understand fully what you are signing, if you haven't got confidence in the figures and you don't quite know what's going on, then please do make the opportunity to challenge the accountant there. At the end of the day, we want to be able to have that confidence that you're happy with what you're signing. When we send something out to you, we've done the best we possibly can. We're hoping that everything's correct, but we also need you to have that confidence as well. So if you don't have confidence, if something doesn't seem quite right, reach out. Either there is maybe a mistake that's been made, or there's something that you need to understand about your business that you weren't sure of. In both scenarios, it's really important to have those conversations, really important to look at it. And even if it was a mistake, it could be a mistake based on something that's out of both yours and the accountant's control. But if you talk about it and understand it, maybe there's a way you can make sure that that's something that won't happen in the future. For example, some piece of information that just wasn't available at the time now is available, then those adjustments can be made. Please do make sure that you challenge your accountant. We're here to make sure that you are confident in your numbers and your figures. And if you're not, make sure that you tell us about it. Also, please do make sure you keep your accountant in the loop. If you're thinking about doing something a bit out of the ordinary in your business, for example, buying a big asset, maybe opening a new branch, going into different markets, going into partnership, then speak to your accountant before you do that. Forewarned, your accountant can give you potentially tax planning advice. It can save you thousands of pounds in tax. If you leave it until after the event to tell your accountant, then there'll almost certainly be nothing they can do to save you anything at that point in time. So if you're not sure whether you should ask your accountant about something, just ask them. That's what we're here for. That's what we've been paid to represent you for. So make sure you send that information. And it's never been easier as well. These days, you've got many ways of sending information to your accountant. Typical email, typical telephone, you've got Facebook Messenger, you've got other social channels, WhatsApp, whatever your accountant uses to be able to keep in contact with you, then make sure you utilize them and get the most out of it, because at the end of the day, that's how you're going to get the most savings, and that's where you're going to get the most benefit from utilizing your accountant. Also, don't forget, we are talking about Valentine's Day. We're talking about loving your accountant. So make sure you are nice to your accountant. Please, please, please be nice to your accountant. Return their phone calls, return their emails as promptly as you possibly can. And if they don't return yours, then make sure that you tell them about it and make sure you're not happy about it as well. Please don't ignore letters, for example, and especially if they're telling you if there's some tax to pay and when to pay it. And please don't get annoyed with your accountant when they tell you how much tax to pay. At the end of the day, we're just using the information we've got. It's not us that are trying to bankroll you or anything daft like that. So please do remember that we're just trying to do our job. And there we have it. There is some top tips there to making sure that you can get the most out of your accountant, making sure that you can feel that love from your accountant. And as long as you go through those tips that we've just talked about, you should be in a really good position to have a great relationship with them. At the end of the day, as an accountant, we're not here to just randomly charge you fees or anything. We charge you fees based on how much work is involved. And if you have that better relationship with them, then that workload will be definitely reduced, especially if you are telling them about things up straight away. If you are giving them that forewarning, they're going to be in a much better position to help you. So on this Valentine's Day, do consider to give your love to your accountant. Okay, enough about that. Let's move on to those important part of the show, which is about all your burning questions. So remember, if you do have any burning questions, use that link below. Make sure that you can chat to us, ask some questions, and we'll make sure this session is all about you. So first question that came in was Ned on Instagram DM, and they asked the following. Hey, Aaron, I've been advised to add my company number to my invoices, but I don't seem to know how. Can I add details to the template? I don't want to have to type it out every time. Well, Ned, the simplest solution to that is to use a solution like QuickBooks Online. Hopefully you already are. And basically, as long as you're using a software like QuickBooks Online, then what will happen is that is designed to make sure you are compliant. So as long as you've put the information into QuickBooks, so all you need to do is go company cog, top right corner, go from there, accountant settings, from accountant settings, go into the basic information at the top, and there we'll say the word company number. As long as the company number has been included in that area, you've pressed save and you've come out of that area, then automatically every template you create will be compliant, and every template you can create will have your company number proudly shown on there. So I highly recommend using that particular solution, or using the solution like QuickBooks, because that's one of the points of it, is to try and get rid of all that confusion and all of that problems, and try and make it so it's easy for you as the end consumer, keeping you compliant, keeping you ready to go. But it's a good job that you checked that. Hopefully now that you've checked it and you know that where to go, so remember company cog, basic settings, and make sure your company number's in there, then you are going to be good to go. Always do a print out, do a sense check before you send anything out, where you'll notice that once you've updated that, go to print preview, you'll see your company number proudly shown on that invoice itself. So good luck on making that work. Martin on Twitter DM asks the following: how can I motivate my staff? We've already offered annual performance-based bonuses, but I've noticed morale and energy has declined over the last 12 months. And Martin, you're not alone. That's the first thing to say about this. We personally, from our accounting firm and from clients that we know and from other accountancy firms we've been with, has noticed that this year has been far, far worse than most years we've had before. It just seems that for whatever reason, for all the things that are happening, it's just been a much more trickier season to get people motivated and get people going forward. And, you know, just knowing that you're not alone is going to be one of those bigger, or one of the things that you can think about when it comes to understanding exactly what to do. But the simple solution on what to do is to understand what your clients, what your staff need. Unfortunately, each member of staff from each different industry are going to be different in terms of what they want, what they need in terms of morale. So the best thing to do is have updates and talk to them. What we try and do at our firm is have at least annual, but we want to have more than annual updates, just so that everyone can feel like they're involved in the team in the big picture and understand exactly what's going on. From there, you can discuss and understand what it is that people need. See, from our point of view, we realize that we just haven't had any social time within our firm in the past 2 years almost, because of everything that's happened. And as long as we can find safe and secure and ways in which we can keep our team safe, then we really need to start looking at ways in which we can bring more social events into the calendar. Even if it's going to be something that's in a couple of months or 6 months time down the line, just knowing it's there can be a huge relief to people. Knowing that there is something coming around the corner, something to look forward to, and an opportunity for our staff to, you know, talk to one another outside of their work environment. The blessing of being able to work from home has been huge for a lot of accountancy firms out there. And I know a lot of my peers and other fellow business owners have been making the most of letting people work from home. But unfortunately, that does mean it comes with its detriment of not feeling like it's as social as it once was. So you have to find a way to be able to make sure that people do feel involved, do feel part of the team, do feel that they're part of that bigger picture and they've got a future in your firm. And the only way to do that is talk to them and have those conversations. And again, when you start having those conversations, they will find you solutions for you. They will find ways to make it happier for you, because they're going to tell you what's not quite working for them at this point in time. So highly recommend having that opportunity to chat with them. Use it as an opportunity to talk about what the future of your business is doing. And hopefully from there on in, you're going to be in a better solution to be able to answer those questions. So good luck with that one, Martin. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you find a way. But remember, you're not alone in it. We're all going through the same issues at the moment. So hopefully you're going to find a way to find a solution for you and your business. Good luck with it. Stacey on DM is the next person to ask on Instagram, and ask the following: I use QuickBooks. Excellent. Well done. Also with my accountant, but I don't spend much time on it. I just take photos of my receipts. How else can I be helping out my accountant? Well, first of all, Stacey, the fact that you're taking photos of your receipt is going to make that accountant very, very happy indeed. The fact that you are taking your time every time you have a receipt, getting your phone out, taking a photo and putting it in there, means that they're going to have a lot of opportunity to be able to go and see exactly what's going on, what those costs are associated with, if there's VAT to claim, if you're VAT registered. All of that sort of stuff is going to be a lot better for them. The fact that you're providing those receipts to them. So first of all, massive congratulations, and keep on doing that one. The other things that you can do to help them, though, make sure your bank is updated. That's a very, very prominent issue at the moment with what's called open banking. It's not your fault. It's not the accountant's fault. It's not even QuickBooks' fault. There is a requirement out there that your open banking has to be reconnected every 90 days, should I say. Fingers crossed that's going to be updated soon. There are rumors that is coming in sooner rather than later. But at the moment, your bank gets disconnected every 90 days. So that means your accountant then can't see what's going on in real-time basis. So keep on top of that one. Most banks now are pretty good at letting you know that connection's about to fail, and QuickBooks itself will send you a reminder as well. So do keep an eye out for them. And if it does say your bank's about to fail or about to be disconnected, please do go in and get it connected on a regular basis. Also, one of the things we love as accountants is we love seeing what's called reconciled figures. And one of the things we can make sure stuff is reconciled is by seeing physical bank statements. So if you can PDF copy over your bank statements to your accountant, also on a regular basis, they can then tick off a little checklist. They can feel happy and satisfied that your bank is correct, and that can help as well. So, keep making sure that bank's up to date, keep making sure everything's all going through from there. If you do that, you'll definitely keep your accountant nice and happy. So good luck with that, Stacey. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be able to keep making your accountant happy going forward. And also, don't forget to rewatch what we've just gone through. All those opportunities we spoke about above is going to give you opportunities to make your accountant happy on Valentine's Day and for the rest of the year. Ivy on Facebook Messenger says the following: currently, I've only really speak to my accountant when it's to do with my tax returns or anything with HMRC, but I realize I could talk to them about more. What other advice should I be getting? Well, Ivy, this is where the world of accounting is slowly but surely starting to morph. Prior to, a couple of years ago, however long it was, then really that's all your accountant was ever designed to do, was basically what we would call, for compliance reasons, making sure you were nice and compliant. But as the world's evolving and as more and more businesses are starting to need more and more advice, then that's where accountants can provide you a lot more than just making sure that your tax returns are filed on time. You see, if you think about it, the accountants themselves know so much about your business. They can see how many employees you've got. They can see what sort of industry you're in. They can compare you against other clients they've got in a similar industry. They've got a lot of insight from what's going on. And they've also got a lot of stories from their other clients and from other dealings they've had. So what that creates is what we would call a business advisor, someone who can come along and talk to you about not just your numbers in your business, not just your tax in your business, but most items regarding your business. And if they can't give you a direct answer, most of the time they have someone in their network who can help you accordingly. As a really brief example, lately we've been seeing a lot of our clients starting to get into that recovery stage. So we've seen that our clients are starting to have a little bit more confidence, say, for having more maybe marketing spend or something like that. But we've been challenging our clients because a lot of those clients have seen huge growth during the last couple of years without that huge marketing spend, because they've been going down and they've been doing the basics correctly, utilizing social media and going through items that have worked really well for them, like maybe brand deals or influencer deals or something like that. And that's worked really, really well for them. So we've been challenging our clients to say, now that you're starting to spend a little bit more on your marketing, make sure you spend that in a wise way. Is it wise just to go in out there and just bring in a consultant that maybe doesn't 100% know your industry, maybe is not quite right for your particular business? And is that the right way in which you can then start almost spending money willy-nilly when you have all that information you've just learned, all that knowledge you've gained from having to bootstrap and having to try and find ways to think outside the box? And it's found some really interesting conversations with clients. And it was only because we had real-time information to see that spend was happening, and also because we had that direct conversation and we have that direct we have that constant communication with our clients, that we're able to do that. And we're finding some really good results from stuff like that, because clients are starting to think that actually, do they need to go and spend X, Y, Z on what they used to do and all the marketing spend they used to spend, when they could be a lot more savvy with it and maybe find solutions that are more relevant for what they do and how they do it. And that means that they're spending their money in a much more concise manner and getting much better results out of it as well. They're the sort of conversations that your accountant is going to have with you, and the ability to have with you, because of the information they've got, because they've got that real-time information, because they've got QuickBooks helping them as well. And that's where you should be able to find you get a lot more out of it going forward. So hopefully, Ivy, with that, you can understand. And just, again, like I said at the beginning, reach out to them. They may just think that you're happy moving along and that there's no problems whatsoever. And it's not until you start those conversations with them, book in some time with them, have that opportunity to have a chat, even if it is just business update as your subject title for a meeting. You're entitled to have that, and you should be encouraged to have that as well, because that's the only way that you and your accountant can grow that relationship and be able to find new ways in which you can help one another. So have a go, Ivy. Just go out there, book some time in with them, and I'm pretty sure you won't go to regret it. Cindy on Twitter DM asked the following. Sorry, it's a bit of an obvious question, but I like to remove a bank account from QuickBooks, but I don't know how. Great question there, Cindy. And don't worry, it's not an obvious question. They haven't made it that particularly easy to understand exactly how to do it. So what you need to do is you need to go to your banking screen within QuickBooks Online. From there, you'll be able to see all your different bank tiles that are available. You'll notice there is a little pencil mark above each of those banking tiles. So you need to find the bank tile that you need to get rid of. So whichever bank account that you're trying to remove. From there, click on the little pencil, which is your edit button, and that will bring up a little page for you where you can go through and edit things like the name of the bank account, the type of the bank account, things like that. You'll also see at the very bottom there a little tick box that says disconnect from bank. So you tick the little box, press save, and that bank account will be disconnected from QuickBooks Online, and you'll lose that banking or that bank tile will go from the banking screen. From there, then that will give you the opportunity to be able to still retain any information you put on there, so that information will be still there. So if you do need to completely remove it, you might have to go in, maybe do some journal entries, maybe talk to your accountant. They've got some tools where they can go in and actually make some adjustments en masse for you. So if you do need to physically remove the rest of the data in there, you will need to do that. But the good thing is if you do need to retain that information, for example, as an old bank account you're not using anymore, then that information will still be there, and that's the most important thing. And that's sometimes so important, because if in some software, when you remove the bank account, it also removes all the historical data as well, which we don't in this case, which is fantastic. So yeah, Cindy, go in there, make sure everything's been put in there correctly. Make sure you've got the opportunity to go in there, and you'll be absolutely fine. So tick that little box, put it through from there, and you'll be good as golden. And if the other good thing as well, if you ever need to reconnect that bank account, you can carry on where you left off as well. Go to add bank and it'll go back in there as it needs to be. Good luck on that, Cindy. Right, last question on this one then. So Susan from Instagram DM asked the following. What's your advice on YouTube-focused influencer marketing? I know a lot of businesses are turning to Instagram. Is YouTube still worth investing in? Well, one thing I will tell you that is facts is the fact that YouTube is still the second biggest search engine in the world. So we've seen a lot of companies, we've seen ourselves, we've seen a lot of benefit from brands that we've worked with and everything else. We do see a lot of benefits still with YouTube marketing. I think Instagram's still got that opportunity to be a little bit more fast-paced in terms of turnaround and being able to get instant gratitude and instant opportunities for you. And we've definitely seen a lot of companies who have benefited massively still from their Instagram influencer marketing. But I think YouTube, one of the benefits they have of it is a much more long tail that you're going to get from it. You see, you can have a video that goes up that can be talking about your product, or even have a little snippet about your product in there. And that video could be going there for almost years to come. And it can continue to be generating leads for you that's going forward. I find that YouTube definitely has that opportunity for a much more long-tailed approach to the marketing. And we've seen that ourselves. We've had videos that have been up now for 2 years almost, and we're still getting leads coming back from it. We're still getting information coming back. And that's what you'll find with YouTube. It's got a much, much longer breadth to it. And the algorithm on there means that it's going to be constantly pushing it into places and new places without you having to worry too much about setting it up and putting it through from there. Don't get me wrong, Instagram is still absolutely essential in terms of growing business at the moment, in terms of bringing there. But I think YouTube is just as important and something that people should definitely be making the most out of. And also, one of the nice things about YouTube is I find it's easier to get involved with it as well. Get involved with what that particular influence is going to be. Maybe invite them on your channel to have a live chat, something like that. There seems to be a lot more ways in which you can get that content, and that content as well is something that you can continue to reuse. So you can take snippets out of it, you can send it out later down the line. Again, it's got that much more longevity to that content itself. So it's just gives you that more emphasis to put more time and effort into it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Susan, that answers your question. And with that is the last of my questions. If you do remember, I did say at the beginning, we had some poll results we wanted to go through with you. And that poll result was the following: how much do you rely on your accountant? And we had funnily enough, 0% of you said a lot, 50% of you said sometimes, another 0% of you said not much, and then the other 50% said, I don't have one. So with that, then I would definitely say that, you really should be, much more of you should be utilizing your accountant. It's said, I was expecting a lot more of a lot, sometimes so much. Sometimes, but it is good to see that not much is one of the ones that hasn't been done quite a lot. And then, yeah, those people out there who haven't got accountants at the moment, understand completely why, especially during the times we're having. Well, just think about what extra value they can give you. It's not just about finding that VAT return on tax return. It is about so much more, which we've talked about today. So with that then, well, thank you very much all for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in contact with me, then please do send me a message at hello@boffix.com, or better yet, jump on that YouTube channel, Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chap, always answering comments in there. So if you do have any questions relating to any of those videos, you can go through from there. Coming up on Asset Expert tomorrow is Head of Technology Advisory and Policy at ACCA, Glenn Collins. So looking forward to that one. Tune in to learn how your business can navigate inflation, price increase, and national insurance rise. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts just like myself are on hand 24/7 to answer all those questions you may have. So please do get involved. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning. Do have a great day and enjoy Valentine's Day itself. Remember to make sure that you send some love to your accountant. Cheers all.